Hi guys, thank you all so much for coming. We have a guest speaker, something we haven't had very often here, but something I'm really excited about. So as you guys know, when Ryan was starting to work on the Flow prototype, one of the big inspirations to us were a series of box videos, but one box video in particular about deconstructing rap. And that was part of where Ryan drew a lot of his inspiration from. And as he was working and looking a lot into rap analysis, he's like, this name just keeps coming up over and over, this guy Martin Connor, who does a lot of this rap analysis and has written some books about the artistry of rap and about rap analysis. And it's like, he's in the area. And I was like, he went to a grad student at my alma mater. I'm just going to ask him if he wants to come and talk to us. So Martin's here today. He's going to talk to us about rap we have about an hour, so maybe 30, 40 minutes, and then we'll have time for questions. And if you guys end up having to go or deal with some crisis or have to get back to work, like, don't worry about it. We are recording this and streaming it as well, so yeah, great. Thank you, Martin.
Okay, well, first way I'm going to start is I have to quick apologize because I really did not realize that this was going to be a presentation. I thought it was more like a conversation, let's say, of 4 or 5 people. But yeah, so again, and you know, I'm going to go on for as long as you guys want until you kick me out, and then I really like to make these like I answer your questions, you know, so I'm kind of just here as the conduit, the vehicle, to help uncover some of the things you've been wondering about, like, oh my God, why did Kendrick Lamar just win the Pulitzer on Monday? You know, why is Kendrick Lamar showing up on the front of Forbes? Why was Kendrick Lamar invited by Obama to the White House as part of the Brothers Keeper? Why does it make sense that Chance the Rapper knew Barack Obama back when he was Barry as an Illinois senator, state senator, you know? So I like these kind of talks to be really responsive and answer your questions, right? So I'm going to start out with a little bit of brief history of just sort of how I arrived, I guess, here today to be talking to you. Then a little bit about my theories, ideas, let's say. I don't know if they're theories yet. And then a final thing, maybe just what I could offer a video game maker more generally, because I really like video games. Back when magazines were around, I subscribed to a magazine called PC Gamer. Anyone ever subscribed to PC Gamer? Yeah, and I normally, around my family, my brother hazes me for this tirelessly, but among this group, I feel like it's okay. So just to make it a little more responsive, who here would say they are a fan of rap? Oh wow, okay, good. Cool, a little bit, maybe some, can I just hear some names of people you like, and then I'll work these artists into my talk, so please just shout them out.
J. Cole.
Oh, new album?
Yeah.
Who said J. Cole? Is it good? I haven't heard it. Is it good? Okay. Let's see, J. Cole. Now, even though I went to school in North Carolina, and he's from Fayetteville, I have to say I do not know a ton of J. Cole. So I'll try. But anyone else?
Cardi B.
Kendrick? Did I hear?
Cardi B.
Oh, Cardi B? Okay. Cardi B is great because I don't know, you know, I think did she just come out with a new project? Yeah. And so, I mean, you know, I know it's a deep track. You want to go for deep tracks, let's say that. And so my current Cardi B exposure is Money Moves, right? But Money Moves says a lot about not just rap, but no, not just Cardi B, but about rap in general, right? Because it's all about trap. And trap is, you would say it's a subgenre of rap, but it's a subgenre that is so popular that now people think of trap as being almost the de facto rap sound, right? Like G-Funk was in the 90s a little bit. Well, latter half, I guess. Anyone else?
Logic.
Wu-Tang. Wu-Tang, who said it? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, I was just telling Helen I admire the, were you the person who wrote Cream then? On the door? Oh, okay. Cash rules everything around me. Anyone else?
Kanye.
Who? Kanye? Okay, that's gonna be easy. I could talk about Kanye in my sleep. I love Kanye because, not just because I think he's the best, although I think he is the best, but he's also really easy and fun to talk about because his artistry just stares you in the face from a page, and that's good because I am just helped write a book on Jesus, actually. So, anyone else?
Staples.
Vince Staples? Okay, cool. I got Big Fish Theory. I dug it. I know a lot of people didn't. I played that first song. It's just called Big Fish Theory, I think. I played that one like over and over. That's some good stuff. Anyone else? Nas, there we go. Another easy one.
Missy Elliott, Immortal Technique.
Missy Elliott, I can't talk about tech, man. I'm sorry. No, it's just beyond my. There's so much good rap to listen to, and so little time. Okay, well, let's go with this, and then hopefully there's a little Q&A session at the end. Okay. So how did I get here? Right. So I'm 28. Okay, let's start there. I'm 28. And I am a musicologist at Brandeis, and I will be graduating this May, so in a month, with my master's degree. And my thesis was on the notation of rap. And this is a really exciting time to be someone who cares about rap, because it's taken 44 years, I guess, if you count it from 1979. Well, no, so what is that, 39, I guess. I'm a musician, not a mathematician. But it's a really exciting time because people are just figuring out what rap is, and I don't mean this in a philosophical way. I don't mean this in like a think piece way. I mean that they're finally starting to uncover its potential. And so rap as a genre, not just a genre, because when you say genre, that really just restricts you to like the musical sounds, right? The songs, the albums, going to the concerts. But rap almost as a tradition, well, let's say heritage, as a heritage, right, is almost optimized for the modern world to like a crazy extent that if you were creating a genre in 1979 and you knew what the future of mass communication would be, instantaneous, internet, everywhere, everyone plugged in, you would set up, and you wanted this genre to be the most dominant in the mainstream in terms of streams, which it is right now. You would set up rap like it is set up today. You would make it endlessly reproducible, right? So anyone can rap. Literally anyone can rap. You don't need an expensive violin. You don't need a cello. You don't have to go to school. You don't have to be from a certain area. You don't have to live next to the orchestral hall so you can, meet the conductor on his way out, right? Anyone can rap. And at the same time, it is incredibly transmittable. Because now that we live in the digital age, it is really super easy to transmit things, right? So 300 years ago, you had to know how to read music. You had to be able to write it down. Also graffitied on the elevator. But if you ever see any little dots like these, and don't really know what it means, then you should be thankful that rap got invented. Because you don't have to read music anymore, man. You can just record it, send it to your friend. You can do it live. Right, so it's reproducible, it's transmittable, and then probably the best way to say the third thing, and excuse my awful handwriting, transmittable, reproducible, but it's immediate, right? It's incredibly immediate. And I know that there are genres out there whose, what would you say, their aesthetic is something that they want you to dig into. You have to work for it a little bit. And again, I'm not decrying, in any of these comparisons, I'm not decrying the other that we're talking about. But this is not an aesthetic in rap. Rap is even as it takes so much advantage of our modern age, it's an inherently, I didn't think I would be getting into this, but it's a pre-modern aesthetic because it just wants you to enjoy yourself, right? I think it's fair to say that some high musics over the past 100 years have become intellectualized. And again, not that it's bad, I like reading scores and uncovering the chords that they use and things like that. But rap just wants you to get to the picture. It speaks to people. And that's why, last week I saw a song by a hijabi girl from the Mid-East where the chorus was a pun on rap. Rap as in the music, but then rap as in she wrapped her head with a veil. And this was her thing. And the song was explaining why she raps. And this is just why rap is almost, you should really talk about raps, right? In the sense of multiple genres, because it speaks to everyone. Does anyone here know the rapper Modest Yahoo from New York? Yeah. How crazy is it that there's this Orthodox Jewish man from an Orthodox neighborhood in New York, and his translation into the rap world was not just flawless, but like glorious, right? You know, you listen to those songs and the way he melds his Jewish faith with sort of like the reggae of Zion and Babylon, and then they have killer guitar solos at the end, and it just works so well. And this is what I mean when I say that rap is really something for everyone, right? And this brings us up to today because people are finally realizing all of these things about rap. That really, there is no limit on rap. There is no limit. You can use it for whatever you want. You know, I've seen books on rap that teach kids pride in their community and how to read. It was about how Kool Herc invented rap in 1970s in the Bronx. Again, talking about this video game, right, which we'll get to in a little bit. I've seen, obviously, they use rap to sell commercials. I saw a commercial, to sell products. I saw a commercial with a rapping teacher for HP or something, where really the draw was just rap. And then HP kind of put their name on it, you know? It's like people who run ads with a famous sports star in it. Like, yeah, you came from LeBron James, now let us tell you about this car, or whatever. This is now rap, right? Rap is becoming the global lingua franca, I guess, for people to talk to each other, right? Because in all of these ways, rap is, obviously it's music, it's a genre, but also it's a culture, clearly. It's a fashion, it's a way to dress, it's a language, it's a community. It's a community. And that might be the craziest thing because, you know, I'm here because of rap, right? There's nothing else that gets me in this door besides rap. You know, I can't program. When we tried to take a picture, my phone was full and I couldn't quite figure out how to clear it to take a picture outside the elevator. And so this is what I think is so amazing about rap, is that it just solves so many problems, right? And it can really, if you can harness it for what it is, then many problems can be solved, right? And so how I fit into this is I study rap as a musician, right? So I just got finished saying it's a language, it's a community, it's a history, and obviously you can study it from all these perspectives, right? What would you say? Yeah, the history of rap has been written about. I even just cited it. Kool Herc invented it in the Bronx in the 1970s, coming out of a Jamaican dancehall sound, and what would you say? The ever-heightening stylization of Toasty, which I could talk a little bit more about if you want. But so that's history, right? You could talk about it from a sociological perspective. Who rapped in the beginning? 1970s Bronx. You could talk about it from a poetry position like we just did with Book of Rhymes, right? Obviously it's lyrics, and you have to analyze them. So what does it mean when Jay-Z opens the second verse of 99 Problems with Once Upon a Time Not Long Ago? Does anyone know that song? Yeah, 99 Problems, right? Yeah, it's basically a meme now. So what does it mean when he opens that song and Slick Rick in 1988 opened a song named Children's Story called Once Upon a Time, or with the same line, Once Upon a Time Not Long Ago. And then Mos Def did the same damn thing in 1999 on the Black Star. Yeah, the Black Star album, also called Children's Story, right? You know, why are they so at pains to always be talking to each other? So obviously that's the poetry part, right? You can even study it from a linguistic part, which I love to do. Does anyone know Young Thug? Young Thug, right? He's got, I have this, one of the crazier ideas you'll hear today from me is that Young Thug has like his own dialect, right? Because if you listen to him, you can barely make out what he's saying. And yeah, right, you know, Nigeria, he really just says the word Nigeria over the length of 5 seconds. 5 seconds is a long time. Nigeria, and that's the chorus. And that's all it is, right? So I've got this theory that he actually has his own dialect in his head where he changes normal English words into what he wants them to sound like so they sound cool. And he has like 4 or 5 songs whose chorus is just one word, memo. He just repeats the word memo. He has the song Drippin'. He just drip, 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 and he just keeps going. So it's really awesome. But the way I study it from is music, right? And so this is really interesting because you would say that music is really, no, I guess the study of music is what you would say, is a highly regulated discipline, right? And it kind of has to be that way because it does take a lot of resources to put it together. So when I say it's highly regulated, I mean that there are a lot of gatekeepers, right? These gatekeepers are the Grammys. How many times did you go on your Twitter feed the day after the Grammys and read about how awful it was that Kendrick didn't win? You know, whether he was losing to Adele or Brian Lewis and Macklemore or whoever, you know? And so, because it happens in certain places with certain people, right? So there are a lot of barriers to studying it. And people like to act like this whole high class, low class art dichotomy has been broken down because Kendrick's in the White House right now. Well, no, these were attitudes that have been learned over 30 and 40 years, right? So I would argue that those kind of barriers to the serious study of music are still there. It's just easier to pretend like they're not than to face the fact that people only study certain kinds of music. And there's certain kinds of music are jazz and classical. And even, you know, I'll say prog rock. Sorry, because I know Radiohead is doing some crazy stuff. And so, and so obviously classical music was the first one up until the inception of jazz, I guess, in the early 1900s, let's say. And then jazz, once jazz had interfaced with classical enough, in the sense of more complex chords, more complex structures. So Wynton Marsalis won the first Pulitzer for music for a jazz composition in 1996. But again, that's, 30, 40 years after Coltrane, 60 years after Duke Ellington, 70, 80 after Duke Ellington's influences, right? So there's just this weird kind of time lag. But if you read history, you can kind of predict where things are going, right? Because the blues became jazz. Well, that's wrong. Let's go, blues became rock. Rock became, and then rock sort of turned into rap, right? And again, there's these subgenres that kind of get looked over because in the 1980s, you listen to the Beastie Boys, you listen to Run DMC. Walk This Way opens with a distorted guitar solo. They play power chords over it, just super amped up, giant snares that couldn't come from some Led Zeppelin songs, right? And so this is important because at every single one of these stages, people have thrown up resistance to studying rap, and to studying popular music, let's say. But this is like America's gift to the world, is blues becoming rock, rock becoming rap. And people will always, they'll come up with different reasons not to do it. It will be because it's not good music, whatever that means. It's because other people are studying it, people not in the academy. We study classical music. So you might even be like, well, that's the thing, that's us, that's our job. We just study the high musics, right? It's just classical and jazz. But now you get to rap. And so this is why I study what I do, is because I attended Duke University and I graduated in 2012 with a bachelor's degree in music. And I studied rap. And studying rap in college and university has made my life harder. It has given me problems that I would not have had to deal with otherwise, and it kind of sounds like the starving artist who finally got an audience and it's like, guys, it's so hard, help me, and it's not like that, but it is. I know that there are problems and looks I wouldn't have gotten otherwise if I had just studied whatever, Mozart, Beethoven, whoever. And so this was really driven home to me my senior year when I had a senior thesis, a capstone project, right? You have to write a paper. And it was like 15 pages, and my advisor was studying this. And he was from Rocky Mount, North Carolina. And so, he was my advisor. He read the paper over. My paper was about Game's 2004 song, How We Do, which, Fresh Like, Impala, Hydraulics, 808, That's how it starts out. So honestly, this man could be forgiven for thinking, what the hell is he doing studying this music, right? You know, because again, this isn't Nas. This isn't Nas. I know I can be what I want to be. You know, this isn't as great as these songs are. This isn't socially conscious rap, right? This isn't empowering rap. So people even say, well, if it's not good for us, then we shouldn't study it. And I just think that is not our call, is how you might put it. But this man who I had studied with for 6 semesters, who I had eaten a personal dinner with, found out that I thought rap was a great music. That I will call it a high music, right? Like classical and jazz. And he found out because he found my website, rapanalysis.com, which I know some of you have found and read through it. And then all of a sudden, he changed on me like that. He returned the graduation gift that I gave to him. The capstone project that I was telling you, you know, I made him a nice copy of it, and I gave it to him. He said, I can't take this, and he gave it back. He interrupted my senior thesis recital to announce that he had somewhere else to be, and he was going to leave. And yeah, right? And so I guess today, you know, with the benefit of 6 years, I can appreciate what he was trying to teach me, even if I think he was still wrong about it, right? But this is why I study what I do, is because it's a music that can solve a lot of problems. It can change a lot of minds, right? Whether it's a Muslim girl who gets mercilessly mocked for wearing a hijab. I think J. Cole has a song about wet dreams. So let's just say, whatever your problem is, okay, there's a rap song that speaks to you. And, you know, and I was really driven home by, had this driven home to me, and I decided to dedicate my life to it when I realized what the song Changes by Tupac meant to me. And I love this because, yeah, who knows the song Changes? Wake up. Okay, yeah. And I love this because I could not be more different from Tupac, you know, and not to belabor the obvious, but white suburban kid from the suburbs of Philadelphia, East Coast, not a performing musician, really introverted, quiet, goes on 2-hour runs just to be by himself for a little bit, to hear himself think. I could relate to Tupac within the world of rap. But really, in reality, me and Tupac aren't connecting at a level like that outside of anywhere, except rap. You know, Tupac, black man, well, originally born in Baltimore, I guess, then moved to New York, then moved to LA. So he's from the West Coast, convicted felon, a religious man like me, but those opening lines of Changes, I want them on my gravestone. You know, I wake up every morning and I ask myself, is life worth living? Should I blast myself? I'm tired of being poor and even worse, I'm black. Those 3 lines alone are why I think Changes should be required teaching in every single one of America's schools. Because it is just the realest collision with truth that you won't get anywhere else. And when I realized what Changes meant to me, what I told myself was this: if Tupac wakes up every morning and he asks himself, is life worth living, should I blast myself? And I thought the same thing, then really there's just no limit here, right? So my work now, more generally, it's about not elevating rap, because that makes it sound like it needs legitimizing, but making it better understood, right? So again, to get to my more general work, is I talk about rappers as musicians. So everyone got this down for the quiz, right? On Wednesday. I'll keep those there. How to say, let's take, where's Nas? Yeah, let's do Nas. What is that line? I never sleep, because sleep doesn't cut through rappers on monkey food. No, I guess let's do that one, right? I think it's NY State of Mind. I can't exactly remember. But he's got a line, I never sleep, because sleep is the cousin of death, right? Which, for whatever reason, I made my 8th grade yearbook quote. So that was that was kind of dark. Mrs. Ayub did not expect that. No, right? But yeah, so I never sleep, because sleep is the cousin of death. So again, there are a lot of different ways you could talk about this line, right? Sleep is the cousin of death. You can talk about it from a poetic, the cousin of death. You can talk about it from a poetic point of view, right? I guess this is a metaphor. There's no like or as, so it's not a simile. And so you can talk about, yeah, you can talk about it from a poetic. You know, it's a beautiful metaphor. Sleep is a cousin of death, because when you're sleeping, someone could come get you, shoot you up, he's dead, because he's dealing drugs or whatever. So that's the poetic part of it. You can talk about it from a historical point of view. You know, this came out in 1994. He's from the neighborhood of Queensbridge in New York. Recently, well, I guess still reeling from the crack epidemic of the 80s. So you could apply that to this lyric and say, well, that's why he thinks sleep is the cousin of death. He always has to be working, making money, watching his back from dudes who try to get him. Or you could talk about it from a musical point of view. So I never sleep. So this is what I do, you know, and in order to analyze it, you do have to, I never sleep. You do have to transcribe it into, because I never sleep, because sleep is the cousin. You do have to transcribe it into music notation, right? And this is what that, I never sleep, because sleep is the cousin of death. Yeah, and there is a rest here. So this is that transcribed into music notation, right? And so all these things is they're telling you where his syllables fall and whether or not they're accented, okay? And so, again, instead of talking about it like, I never sleep, because sleep is the cousin of death, you do it like this. Da-da-da-da, right? You just remove the words, and then you talk about, because this is just pure rhythm, you know, da-da-da, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And so that's a really obvious thing, and it says something about how musical we are as humans, that people can hear this and understand it, even if they couldn't transcribe it into music, right? So to explain musical time, I would think of it as being like minutes, but minutes that can go fast or slow, okay, right? You know, because you use minutes to schedule events, right? Hopefully I'm done talking by 4, and that's in 26 minutes or whatever. But in music, you also schedule your events. Clearly, this is telling you what is happening and when, but you want the beat to be able to come fast or slow. Because otherwise, if, you know, say this is like a second, all your music would be the same speed, right? You know, whether you're at church, a synagogue, at a club, at a bar, at a coffee talk, open microphone night, right? So we don't want that. We want beats that can go fast or slow, whether it's here or here, right? And so as it turns out, rappers construct musical structures that are just as complicated as anything you will find in classical music or jazz. It's just that we face 2 big problems in understanding this. One is that there's no written record of raps, right? When you study Mozart, you know what Mozart originally intended. You see his chords, you see his structure, you see his orchestration, because he literally wrote it down for you. You know, but take the song Rigor Mortis, Kendrick just recorded it, right? There is no record of it. So when I begin to study it, I'm already like 50 miles behind those people who study Mozart. Because the first thing I have to do is I have to come up with a system to represent rap, which has really been my specialty, working on it. And so that's one thing, is the transmission of rap. And that's important because rappers have an oral culture of transmission, and you're working from a recording which there is no archetype of, archetype. Not only do you have to do that, but often rappers break the rules in ways that we are completely unprepared to study, right? Because if you were really to perform this, I would do it robotically, right? It would be da-da-da, da-da, da-da, da-da. But obviously that's lame. That's flat. There's no bounce to it. There's no groove to it. You don't feel badass listening to that. It feels like school. So this is what he does. Da-da-da, da-da, da-da, da-da-da. And the difference is so small. And I've measured it. It's like 0.1. Well, every rapper can be defined by how big that delay is. And they call it, you can read articles on it. They'll call it expressive micro-timed delays. But really, that just belabors the point. Yeah, because they're just swinging it, man. They weren't thinking, I should expressively microtime this. They were thinking, this should sound badass, and then they made it sound badass, right? And so, again, it's like a delay of, let's just say, 0.2 seconds, right? And other people are crazy behind the beat. Mos Def is super behind the beat. Kendrick, on the song Look Out for Detox, is crazy behind the beat. And then other rappers who aren't as behind the beat, Nas is super behind the beat. But Black Thought from The Roots he really doesn't have that much. He more stomps his rhythms out, and of course it still sounds good, so I'm not criticizing him. But yeah, so this is where I am, and so one of the structures that I talk about, and then I'll apply this quick to why I am so happy to be here today, is which one to do. Let's do games how we do, I guess. The song that started it all. Right? Because one of the things, obviously, when rappers rap is they don't sing, right? So he's not like, fresh like, Impala, if R&B singer was behind him, they might do it that way, right? But, so he's just speaking his rhythms like I am now. And so this completely upset everyone because they were like, shit, well, if there aren't scales and there aren't pitches, then what the hell do we have to study? Since Western music development has been so much predicated on that, at first they only used fifths, perfect fifths. There is no piano. I don't know why I thought there would be one. Okay, so at first they only used, first they only used octaves, right? Which if I could sing, I would sing for you right now. But you would recognize it, octaves, fifths, and fourths. Then they added thirds, and this added color, and it allowed us to make chords. Then they added seconds, which were important because they are suspensions. You have to deal with them. Seconds are not actually the member of any chord, and music is just, in classical music, it's just a succession of chords. So when you add a second, it's like a problem you have to solve. And it's one of those problems, that leads to a lot of creativity, which is why they did it. And then eventually they shattered that in the 1900s, and they made all 12 pitches of the scale equal, which is Schoenberg, Faber. Does anyone like that kind of music, Faber and Baird? Oh, no way. You listen to it? Do you have a favorite piece, or just you've heard it? Okay. Well, yes, as long as someone is, you too? Oh, do you have a favorite piece, or?
Yeah, that was more like Stravinsky fan.
No, like Rite of Spring? Yeah, that's awesome shit. Yeah, I do love Rite of Spring. I actually sampled the second movement of that. The chord is really awesome. And this is what I mean, because that chord is really a superimposed, two chords superimposed upon each other that don't go together when you think of them at one time, but they make perfect sense when you take them apart. And that's an extremely modern thing to do, right? Superimposition, juxtaposition, other buzzwords, whatever. No, but back to rap, right? So there is no pitch. So what do you study? What was fresh like on? And it might seem like there is no method to fresh like Impala, chrome hydraulics, 808 drums, chrome hydraulics. Sorry, let me just write this down. Chrome hydraulics, 808 drums. You don't want. Right. So there is something to study here besides pitch, and that thing proves that rap always has to be thought of as being both music and poetry and community. Because it's not just one or the other. I am in no way advocating for rap to be thought of as pure music, because that will lose what we're about to talk about, right? So this is the and you're gonna have to trust me on it for now, that this is poetry, right? Because look at these quotes, right? These quotes denote, whatever. To be formal, you would have to say grammatical clauses or whatever. I'm just gonna say sentences with kind of the corollary that lists get divided up too, because Eminem does a lot of that. Has anyone heard Marshall Mathers LP 2? There are like 4 or 5 songs on there where he just goes through these lists, right? And so, but this one, right? So if you look at it, because how you have to think of it is like this, and this is sort of what people miss if they focus on pitch or whatever, okay? These are slurs. Does anyone play music here? Yeah, right. So you've seen slurs, and they tell you how to articulate an idea and also what the structure of it is, right? Well, I use these slurs to indicate sentences because these sentences are the beginning and ending of the important idea, right? And this is the important idea. Fresh like, that's it, yeah, right? And so this is a really super interesting idea because it's really not easy to pull off in classical music because it's super syncopated, right? So again, this is that in music notation. And fresh like, impala, chrome hydraulics, 808 drums. So now you can kind of feel that this, how do I want to it's confusing, I'll go like that. This, and those chrome hydraulics, yeah, and hydraulic, the X of drops. They're all falling in the same spot, right? Chrome, fresh like, you know, it's not fresh like, it's fresh like, impala, chrome hydraulics, 808 drums, you don't want none, run, when I whatever. But so you can see that he set up this really nice rhythm, right? But that's not the only thing he does with it. Bang, bang with my hand up just like okay, because then he goes back to it, right? So actually, if you listen to the opening verse of how he transforms that idea. And in classical music, you would call this motivic development. And actually, as it turns out, this song is on my phone right now. So we're going to listen to it a little bit to see how, it's how we do. No, there it is. Okay, cool. You don't want none. Yeah, right? So he set this up. So this is like the bass line. And he has to do it this way, right? He has to make the idea small enough to be understood at a single time. He has to make it unique enough that you remember what it is, that it stands out to you. And he has to repeat it over and over so that you understand the change when it comes, right? So we're just going to listen to like the first few lines because eventually he transforms this and he would call it motivic development. So like Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, you know, the da 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 da, you know, we all know it, we've all heard it. The reason that symphony is so famous though is because of this concept of motivic development, that you define a motive and then you transform it. So even in that opening soundbite cliche, he's taken those same four pitches and he's moved them down, right? Da, 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 and then he takes them, we call it transposing it, and he transposes it down. Da, 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 right? And so what Game is doing is similar because he's developing his motive. It's just that his motive doesn't have pitch, right? And so, yeah, let's just quick listen to that. So. I'm sorry, again, can you guys hear that? Can you hear that? You're still doing the same thing. There. And that's the important one. Does anyone know what was different about the line, ready, here it comes? Yes. Would have been so much easier if you were there too. So that's exactly it though. Ready, here it come, right? But the idea is still the same. I can identify it as the same motive. You know, he didn't change the idea. It's not just contrast. He's not just moving on. He's not just progressing. He took the motive and he changed it, right? Because this is ready. Ready here. I guess it's 4. Yeah, so it's on the beat at first. Compton on, Dre found me in the slums. Yeah. Ready, here I come. Compton on, Dre, yeah. Dre found me in the slums. Exactly. Ready, here it comes. So this is the word come. Compton on, Dre found me in the slum. Ready, here I come. Compton on, that's its own ready here, Dre found me in the slum, right? And so it's important that you understand it as poetry, because otherwise you won't recognize that one of the reasons I can identify it as a motive is that all of these ideas are just 2 beats long, right? And also that they're all their own sentences. Ready, here I come. Ready, here I come. 1 sentence. Compton, another sentence. He's just shouting out his city. Dre found me in the slum. Another sentence. And then the other thing that's important that you recognize it is because he also tells me it's a motive because these are all rhymes on the same vowel sound, right? So he didn't just start out fresh like, because he couldn't think of a word to replace He was setting up his motive change later on, right? And actually, this entire verse will rhyme on that. Because now, if this is like the first, I think it's, I guess it's 8 bars. It's 8 bars, right? The first 8 bars are all about establishing his motive. The next 4 bars are about moving his motive to this downbeat, right? And then his last 4 bars are all about, making you question about which kind of motive he's going to end up in. Because if you notice at the end, when we listen to the whole verse, you'll hear that he really quick goes back and forth. Because here it's kind of been stratified, right? First 8, syncopated, like that. Next 4, on the downbeat, And then in the last 4, he really quickly goes back and forth between them. So here comes the change. Come, slum, skunk. So how about that last one though? Yeah, right? So that's the exact moment when he goes back. Fun. So that's a really nice musical journey, right? Because he sort of showed you his hands, he made you question which cards he was going to play, and then he played the card you didn't think he would, right? Because he ends on the downbeat. Right, so even bang with my hand up addressed like, right, okay, so, so that line, bang with my hand up addressed like, he could have done it like that. Within this framework, it makes absolute sense if he would have did it like that. And that's how you know it's good music. Because good music is music that could have done anything. And what you're really watching and enjoying is its final realization, right? But you can, hopefully now, you can see the different pathways. You can see he could have done anything. He could have kept rhyming like this. He could have released How We Do Too, where all he rhymes now is like this. And we would understand it, because we're like, oh, he's playing off what he did last time, right? He could have only done the syncopated thing, because that rhythm is so good. Dun, 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 dun. And compared to how often, not in a bad way, but how repetitive rappers are today, that would totally fly. I mean, come on, trap, so Money Moves, Cardi B. I don't even know if I know any of the words to it, but the rhythm that sticks in my mind like glue is da-da-da, right? And so it's the way she says it, it's how she says it, it's that it's such a unique rhythm, it's that it's so syncopated, that really that's like, the song was created just to hold this amazing idea. And that's what I love about trap. If you want to understand trap, this is for the rap fans who think rappers today are too different, whatever, they don't rhyme. If you want to understand trap, what makes them so great is that they bring out the most maximum amount of interest from the simplest musical parts. And they just repeat it over and over. So what I like to say, if you saw the Vox video, I think it got cut from the final cut. But what I said was, trap is really just one genre who's trying to make the perfect bar. Like one perfect, glorious bar that they just repeat over and over for all time. I mean, even think of the music, you probably noticed that the beats sound the same, that clap sound. And so like Big Sean's, I think the song is called Ass, it just literally just opens with that. And it's just clap, 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 clap. And then Big Sean gets on and then he's like, clap, 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 clap. And it's like it's like the idea of the earworm taken to the nth degree, right? And that's why that series is called Earworm. And it's also why hooks, their choruses, the part they repeat, are the parts they focus on. Why it's money moves, and so it's not that, whatever, they don't care about, what would you say, the police brutality of a Tupac or the empowerment of a Nas, because those rappers are still out there. You just gotta look a little hard for them. But it's just that the mainstream rap has moved in a slightly different direction. So now this brings me to today, I think, where I can, where hopefully I can sort of plug in more what I do to, Helen showed me a few mock-ups and a demo of video games and why it will matter and who will like it and who's going to buy it and who would ever buy a video game when there's a microphone right there, right? Wrong. Because, again, it goes back to one of the things that I opened up with at the start, which is the way rap is transmitted and who likes rap. Because literally everyone likes rap. Again, it's what the most talented people will go into. 150 years ago, Kanye West would not have become a rapper. He would have become a classical composer. 50 years ago, Kendrick Lamar would not have become a rapper. He would have been a jazz player. Well, he essentially is a jazz musician, especially for For Sale, This Decade Free. Yeah. So how it works though is, right, because rap is so prepared to take full advantage of technology, right? Like if it was a company, it would be the startup. It would be the Uber that knows where you are, who your friends are, how you order cabs, where you are.
It just makes me think of something I was reading as like a
please.
kind of a counterpoint to the classical world, and how when recording media was first coming out with records, it was seen as a threat to the whole classical world, whereas it's totally the opposite for hip hop, where it's like writing it down is in a way threatening to the form, and mixtapes is how it was born.
No, that's a really good point. Glenn Gould, a famous Canadian piano player, famous for his interpretations of the Bach fugues and sonatas and everything, he made this exact point, and he was actually open to it. But in a funny way, recording got invented. He was like, this is a threat to me and my livelihood. He's a touring pianist. And he retired. He was just like, well, that's done. And by this point, he's 70. But he understood that music was moving in a certain direction and classical music would probably not move with it. Because classical music's ideal is music still really pretty much that can be, at least at some level, reproduced in the real world. And anyone who has ever listened to a Dr. Dre beat knows that is absolutely foolish. Pretty damn foolish. Because, any Dr. Dre fans in here? Yeah, anyone? So, Dr. Dre's, quick tangent, Dr. Dre's artistry is really specific. Because Dr. Dre, obviously he's a great producer. He's as good as Kanye at picking awesome sounds. But Dr. Dre was gifted by God with the greatest set of ears of all time. Because I swear to God, he hears things in sound that none of us do. If someone, I don't know, a fashion designer could pick out like Midnight from Onyx or something, Dr. Dre could do the same thing, okay? And so he's got this really great song called Never Knew with Eminem, where there are 6 string ensembles on it. And there is a staccato, so they play like really sharp, like da-da-da-da-da. There's a pedal string ensemble, just to hold that. There's a chord, they play multiple pitches at the same time. There are violins, there are cellos, there are violas. Because Dr. Dre understands this about technology, that harnessing the studio, you can hear all of these sounds. You can give each of them their space. But in a real world situation, it would be mush. All of the sounds would hit your ear at the same time. You couldn't be like, okay, well, what if I put the staccato strings far left and the pedal far right? Right? And so that is a really good point. And that is why rap, big argument, is rap now to me is one of the world's global heritages. Because it's what people are sort of pouring their knowledge and their love into, and it's what people will remember when they're looking to see what it was like to be alive in 2018. They're going to listen to rap to figure that out. First of all, yes, obviously movies too. Movies will be right there, but it won't be classical. It won't be sculpture. It won't be painting. It won't be the plastic arts as great as those are. So, video games though, right? Right, because it's actually funny that this is what I'm here talking about, because over the past year, I've gotten about 6 or 7 offers to try and solve, professional collaboration opportunities, to try and solve this exact problem, which is how do you make learning rap and performing rap as fun as possible? Just let's summarize it like that. So I have variously been approached by someone who wanted to write a book, named John Lamb, someone who wanted to make a app, someone who wanted to make a website. And so, and then the other ones are sort of just reiterations of those. But it's really funny because they're all sort of circling around this problem, right? And never in a million years would it have occurred to me that a video game is the answer to making rap as fun as possible. And really giving rap the position it deserves in a lot of our daily lives is how you could put that, right? So the guy wanted, book, classic, how to rap, whatever, make it fun. The app was actually really interesting because he would crawl lyrics websites like Rap Genius, and then I guess he had an algorithm that could sort of do what your video game was doing, and smart machine learning, it could map, if it had an understanding of which syllables of the English language are accented, it could predict with reasonable accuracy, which syllable would go where. But it was super complicated after that, because you're watching all this happen on a user interface that is really alienating. It looks like just because I'm a Mac user, it looks like a terminal, with like codes, entry, and there was just too much to do. And while what you were doing would get you where you wanted to go, that process would not be fun. Then there had to be beat detection. Then it's like, well, how do you get the rights to the song? Then how do you regurgitate this idea back to them in a way that is fun? Because, they can hear the song. So in this entire process of mapping the syllables, putting it into plain text, what have you really gained? And it might just take a whole lot of time and Sturm und Drang. And stuff like that. So the website was, he calls it an artist development platform, and it is a really good site, but it won't make rap as fun as possible. It's a realization of the new structure of the business industry rather than making rap as fun as possible, because he figured out, this man, Michael Hendricks, and so, I'm a collaborator with them, and I teach rap lessons through their site. So someone buys a package, let's call it like $50, they get beats, they get a manual, they get personal lessons with me and stuff like that. But it's an artist development platform because he realized, well, look, you can just go direct to people. So this is like, Chance the Rapper won a Grammy independently, but this is like Chance in your living room, because Chance is basically like, well, he is the label. Right, the manager, he's got his own manager, he's got his own A&R, he's got his own promo people. But this website was cool because then it puts all that stuff in your living room, and it's like, well, let's get a manager who, instead of just managing Chance full time, manages like whatever, ever many people he wants, 10 simultaneously. Because you don't always have the manager on the phone, you don't always have the promo and stuff like that, right? So the video game is really fun because it solves so many of these problems, right? So if you take like the apps problem, the journey not being fun for the app. Well, video games are really fucking fun. As my PC Gamer showed, and I played subscription showed, and I played Guitar Hero. I played the other ones, Band. Exactly. Right. Yeah, thank you. And so, so the translation is almost like easy at this point, right? Because one of the reasons people love to study rap is because the materials are so widely available. And weird thing, linguists fucking love rap. Because, their problem for a long time is like, well, how do I get a corpus? How do I actually get the data? And rap, people will do this for you, and not just do it for free, they'll have fun doing it. They'll try to figure out what, Young Thug is saying on a song like Nigeria. And so they really like it also because, it's like a living, breathing compendium of African American English in America. And so which you could study as a dialect, like John McWhorter does in Virginia. So, that journey is sort of solved. Or the website, or what would you say? I guess there's a problem with all these of feedback too, right? The feedback's not immediate, because in all of these, we have to schedule a lesson. You have to figure out how it works. You have to schedule a lesson again. Or excuse me, yeah, well, you gotta buy it first. And again, you never see what it looks like. I mean, if you're talking about things shouldn't be behind a paywall, what could like a demo of a book possibly look like? How could you revoke that access at some point? So that's like, you don't really know what you're getting. That takes too long. And that's like, you have to schedule the website. But a video game is like as if I was turned into a disc and then just lived with all these people in a non-creepy way. Right? And so that's why I love and why I think it would meet the needs of so many different people, right? Because we're talking about audiences for this video game. Well, obviously, you would get rap fans. Well, I don't have to write rap at this point. I can just write fans. Fans of the music, people who don't make it, right? People who just like to enjoy it, listen to it. Then you would get what I would call dedicated audiences. So these are people who haven't bought rock bands, but know that Kendrick Lamar, MF Doom, Nas, Logic, Kanye are in this game, so then they would want to be like, oh shit, I want to rap like Kanye. So then they do that. There would be, obviously you would get rappers, right? People who do want to understand it. Because this is the problem really that gets solved with over the app, right? Is that doing it would be a lot of fun. It would be a lot of fun. It would be so fun, right? And then obviously, you get general video game people. And I can say because I've been teaching personal rap lessons online through Skype, 1 hour, $35 if anyone's interested. No, but I've been doing it for about 3 years, and it blows my mind. It really fucking blows my mind that someone will pay me to teach them rap. Because this is just like pie in the sky, perfect job. And it's $35, which is it's not money falling out of your wallet, let's say, right? It takes a level of dedication and commitment that leads me to make the following statement. The people who will buy this game they aren't just young, they aren't just rap fans. They would be a huge amount of people who want to know, quote unquote, what it's about. When they come over to visit, they want to know, they want like a real quick crash course to be like, well, I want something to talk about with my grandkids. Why did Kendrick Lamar go to the White House? Grandmas, grandfathers, cousins, moms, dads, really super young people. Because again, this is just how applicable rap is. Because I met with Justin Hunt, who was also on the Vox video, the Migos Triplet Flow, and he made a really good point. He said, whether you're a good rapper or not, and this is a former editor of Hip Hop DX, and now he runs his own YouTube channel with about 100,000 followers. He had a really good point, that if you're going to be popular, it really only takes two things. It's about two things. It's about how your voice cuts through the track and what you've got to say. And that is why rap's extremely decentralized and democratic mode, let's say, has led to it being so popular. Because everyone's got something to say, everyone's got something to say. And rap gives you the tools to say it.
Perfect.
Right? Thank
Nice.
you.
Thank you guys. Thank you
Yeah.
for coming. We're going to show him the demo now, and so he knows what we've been kind of working on. And if you guys have questions, he'll be around. Thank you guys. Awesome. Thank you. That was amazing.
Sorry, that was off the top.
Oh my God, that was so awesome.
Yeah, thank you.
No, just like watching you annotate stuff is so cool.
Yeah, it's
Not
funny,
a
yeah.
musician, but that was just like.
Pretty great adaptation of a 5-person talk to
Yeah. Not bad.
Yeah, come on, I want to get into that.
I would love to.
This is Jonathan Minster.
Hey, that's good. You were very responsive during the.
I know for that.
Yeah.
So he was creatively on Dropmix. I don't know if you've seen that.
Oh, okay.
You guys should show him Dropmix if you haven't seen it, because that's kind of also one of our.
Oh, no way, yeah, sure. And thank you too. I'm sorry, what's your name?
Oh, this is Rick.
Rick, hey, what's up?
Oh, no,
Yeah,
designer.
Okay.
Working.
Yeah, and thank you for, Jeff, nice to meet you. Yeah.
Audio guy on flow.
What's that?
No, audio guy on flow.
Oh, okay, cool. Oh,
So this is
awesome.
our team we got going right now.
Yeah, this is some.
And we're good flow plates. Yeah.
Flow flames, I love
I
that.
like flow snakes. Flow snakes.
Flow snakes,
Flowers.
that's good. You know what, my question before you guys go, because I have the book,
Yeah, okay.
is, I was thinking about what you're talking about with the
Yeah.
like microsecond delays,
Yeah.
to make things swingier, and one of the things that's interesting there, so Jeff has actually been working on tech for a different game we're working on that will beat sync, like if you do like beatboxing,
Yeah.
it will snap it right to
Ah,
exactly the right grid. But I'm wondering if the way to make somebody's performance sound better is to snap it to the grid and
Oh,
then
yeah.
find.
Yeah.
Like,
That was-
you already
that
been
was-
thinking about
That was
that?
one of the things that Octo does for their singing fixing, so I was thinking of using that tech. But also, we would want to have something, talk about this more. Right now, everything we have is to the grid, but then like maybe
Yeah.
apply like a style filter.
Yeah. Oh,
It's
that
like
would
in
be great.
Ableton they have fluid templates or group templates.
Right,
like
and then people wouldn't even necessarily